Welcome in, cadets. Today is August 19th. Today we're going to be talking about players I have changed my mind on. As you know, in fantasy football, circumstances are always changing and vice versa. So, as always, if you're new here, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more fantasy content, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, guys. So we're going to be talking about, first off, we're going to be talking about Jonathan Taylor. As you know, Jonathan Taylor right now is going in the second round of most fantasy drafts. I was willing to overlook Anthony Richardson coming in on the goal line, possibly taking away from his touchdowns. I was willing to overlook Richardson coming in, running with the ball, possibly taking away from the passing game and check down situations for Taylor. I was willing to even overlook the contract dispute with the Colts and Taylor as well. But now we're to the point where Taylor is quote unquote rehabbing the same ankle injury that bugged him all last year. So apparently he's not healthy. And all I know is he hasn't been at training camp. He had contract disputes. He just left just the other day for a quote unquote personal matter. So there's a lot going on here to, unwrap, and there's a lot of red flags. And I see myself more and more avoiding Jonathan Taylor in the second round. So I rather much draft someone who's fully healthy, like a Derrick Henry that's going right next to him. I'm not. There's too much to risk here, and Taylor's a nuisance that I'm not going to be drafting in any of my leagues this year, and you should too. Another running back kind of going over some similar issues than Jonathan Taylor is J.K. Dobbins. Now, the contract dispute situation is finally closed with JK. He's officially back with the team. Don't ask me why he had a contract dispute to begin with, but he did, and it was kind of ridiculous. But a month goes by, he's back with the team now, and I really like J.K. Dobbins. If you asked me a month ago, I was pretty high on him. I had to cool off a little bit due to the contract disputes and him not being at training camp, and I have cooled down on my rankings a little bit. I'm not totally off JK at the moment, but we're less than a month away from the football season, and this guy really hasn't been at training camp. This is a new offense as well. They project to throw the ball just slightly more this season, so I know I said he's got top 5 potential, and that could possibly be true, but at the same time, J.K. Dobbins is a RB2 that can give you RB1 weeks here and there, and you can't draft this guy thinking you have serious upside. So I got to cool down on my rankings just a little bit and come back down to earth. JK is an RB2, and just keep that in mind when you're drafting him. So just because I said I was changing my mind doesn't mean it always was in a negative way. So I'm talking about Drake London. I've kind of came around to the idea that, Drake London has some overwhelming concerns due to this Falcons offense. They just drafted a guy at number 8, Bijan Robinson. So they look like they're going to be in a run-heavy scheme this year. But when we're talking about Drake London, we got to talk about his draft price. He's going in the 5th and 6th round versus what his counterparts in his draft class are going at, with Garrett Wilson going in the 2nd round, and we see Chris Olave going in the 3rd and 4th round. Drake London comes at more of a discount in the 5th and 6th due to the Falcons' concerns on offense. So it's a bit of a better price. And we have to factor in that he did have a 29% target share last year. That was the largest target share for a rookie in almost close to a decade. So this guy, he did click with Ritter down the stretch last year. And I think that goes unnoticed. And if Ritter does, end up being a average QB, I think this is a situation where Drake London could shine. And I'm really coming around to that idea more and more lately. So just something to think about when you're sitting in the 5th and 6th round and you see Drake London on the fantasy board. You got to go back to last year. This guy was the overall number 1 prospect wide receiver wise. And he's not really being drafted like that this year due to this offense and how dysfunctional it was last year. So there is upside here. It may be a small window, but if he gets 20 extra targets this year, you can see him make that jump. So just something to think about. Now, I was going to totally avoid this backfield entirely. However, this team was second in the league last year in rushing attempts, so the volume is going to be there. And I'm talking about Khalil Herbert. Johnson is going to lack the experience, and he's probably not going to be a factor in his first year in the league. And Foreman, I don't know if he's going to be better than Herbert. I highly doubt it. I really think Herbert is the overall best pure runner on this team. And if given the volume and opportunity, he can easily be an RB2 in fantasy football this year. And you're going to be drafting him as your RB5 on your bench somewhere. He's going into double digit rounds in most cases, so he's an absolute bargain. And this is a guy I kind of overlooked in the offseason. But now we're at the draft capital price and we're going into late August, and he is an absolute bargain. Why not roll the dice and see what happens? If you hit, he's going to give you a huge boost for your team. If you don't hit, you missed on a 10th round pick like the majority of people do. So apparently Javonte Williams is more than ready to start week 1, which is absolutely incredible on its own. I think most people fully expected Williams to miss some in-game season time, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And there could be a committee to start the year with P. Ryan. Maybe they do a 50-50 split until Javonte feels up to it to take some more heavy workload. But I fully expect Williams to pull away from P. Ryan somewhere in the middle of the year. And we've seen cases of this before with other teams. But as of now, Javonte had just played his preseason game. After the interview, he says, quote, "I feel 100%, which again is remarkable on its own. If all these reports are coming true and he's not going to miss time and he's close to 100%, then you're getting a running back at an absolute steal in the 8th, 9th round. Again, this is a guy that's going to be an absolute bargain for you. There is some built-in risk. Obviously, he messed up his knee pretty bad last year, but if he does feel 100%, why not take the risk? Usually these knee injuries for these young running backs, they kind of bounce back a little more quicker than the older guys. So 8th, 9th round, I am all in on rolling the dice on Williams. Yes, please. Do me a favor if you have not done so already. We are a small community here at the Fantasy Football Academy. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more fantasy content. Everything helps. And if you have anything you want to share, please put it down in the comment section. And we will see you guys in the next video.